I will admit that this read was not at all what I expected it to be, but I'm not mad about it. Hi guys, it's April, and I'm going to do this review the same way I do all of my other reviews. I'm going to have the non-spoiler section up front, followed by the spoiled-filled dump afterwards, in case you don't want to spoil yourself. But of course, feel free to stick around and hear all of the words that decide to come out of my face. I received a free copy of Not Your #Lovestory by Sonia Hartl for a free and honest review, and that in no way has swayed my opinion on this book. I mainly just decided to pick up this book because it looked fairly interesting. This is the story of Macy, who runs her own YouTube channel that does reviews of videos. She decides to take her mother on a birthday trip to a Royals game where she accidentally spills her hot dog and drinks over a very cute boy. However, during this baseball game, a complete stranger decides to document their meet cute, and it goes viral. Because this meet cute goes viral, her YouTube channel starts to take off, and the boy involved in the meet cute, Eric, proposes that the two of them play it up for social media so that they continue to get the clicks and the views. But at the same time, Macy is starting to develop feelings for a local boy, and she starts to question everything that she's doing for clicks. Now, at first, I thought I was just going to get a simple romance read where a girl likes a boy and things kind of fall out in a tumbling fashion with a little bit of anxiety, but something that is sweet and quick and very easy to dive into. However, what I got was a lot deeper than that, and I very much appreciated it for it. I will note that there is talk of suicide, and there's talk of other mental disorders in case that is triggering for you. But it dives into a lot of deeper commentary on social media and how we can judge people on something that complete strangers may post about a person and how that will affect other people's lives. The character development of Macy and her family is absolutely amazing. I love the dynamic between her and her mother and her grandmother, and just the look at the town in general. She comes from a small town, and because of that, it affects the way that people interact with other people. But seeing that dynamic between all of the different people in town, all of the different characters, the people that Macy works with, and her home life, this book could have easily had cookie cutter characters, but each of the characters seems to hold up on their own, and they each have a deeper backstory, and a lot of it takes some very deep look into a lot of social issues. This book has a lot to say, and I think it says it very, very well. It makes you stop and think about what the internet is doing to us mentally and how crazy we can get for that validation of complete strangers' likes, and just what those negative comments from complete strangers can do to us mentally. I think because I spend so much time on the internet, I connected with this read. Now, the writing in this book can get a little repetitive at some points. We're given a lot of detail that I don't feel had a lot of relevance. I think it was a lot of filler, but it was very easy to get into, and I really started to get into what the book was saying about the internet and life and relationships and how we treat looking at our phone and looking at our likes and our comments and our social interactions, and how that can just set us up to be in a mental space that isn't healthy for ourselves. So I truly enjoy this. There is a little bit of romance in there. This is a new adult read. The main character is 18, and there is a lot of relationship things that happen. Overall, I really did enjoy this book. I think it had a lot of good commentary on social media and just relationships in general, and just how willing it was to go into those darker aspects of all of that. So if you are looking for a read that dives into social media and has a little bit of romance on the side, I highly recommend this read. But this is the point in which I am going to switch over from being non-spoilery and then start diving into some of the points that this book really gets into. So if you don't want to spoil yourself, I recommend that you go and you read this book and come back and we'll have a conversation. And of course, tell me down below if you are going to go and read this book, because I would love to hear who else is going to be picking up this read. I briefly kind of mentioned a lot of the commentary that this book seems to do on social media. There is a point in this book in which Macy, she decides to play up this fake relationship with Eric just so she starts to get more clicks and more views on her YouTube channel, because YouTube feels like her out of this town. She needs the money. She doesn't want to be here anymore. There's a lot of backstory that she's just trying to get away from. So at first, she's very willing to get into this kind of fakeness on the internet so that she can get those clicks. But she starts to realize that the interaction she's getting on her YouTube channel isn't quite what she wants it to be. She started this YouTube channel doing deep dives into movies and doing commentary on that. But what she starts to have to do is sell herself for talking about this fake relationship with this boy that she doesn't even like. She automatically had a lot of red flags that went up when she was interacting with this boy. So she knew it was something that she never wanted to pursue. But the fact now that she is faking a relationship with him, though she knows he's not the kind of boy that she would ever want to talk to. And the fact that she's starting to have to pull back on her content and make something more surface level is leaving her a little bit empty. So she's starting to have to make the decision if it's quality over quantity, or what kind of content she really wants to create, or even if she wants to create anymore, if it is even worth it. And I think that is an interesting look on how when things go viral and you kind of want to jump on that bandwagon, and how that starts to shape your thinking and changes you in a way that maybe you never wanted in the first place. I know when I've never seen anything close to the success that Macy sees in this book, but when one of my videos really started to take off and this channel grew faster than it has ever grown before, the reality was it was a type of video that I wasn't really making a lot of. It was just a one-off video. And I started to have to really think if I wanted to switch my channel into more of that kind of content, or if I wanted to stick with what I was really passionate about and what I really started this channel for. And I think ultimately it was easier for me to make the decision that I wanted to stick with my passion. This wasn't something that I was relying on the income for. So it was easy for me to make that choice to stick with what really made me happy. But Macy has a whole other different set of requirements that she's trying to hit, with the fact that this is an income that she needs, and that this money is the money from her channel is something that is going to change her life. And so is she willing to make that transition into something that was probably ultimately going to tear her down in a way that she just didn't want? And so when she made that choice to say, hey, I can't do this, I need to be true to myself, I don't even think this is worth it anymore, and she starts pulling down the tweets and she starts pulling down the videos, I was rooting for her. But then as Eric slowly started to turn into a slight villainous type creature because the internet meant so much to him, that says a lot. And I think with how much all of us are on the internet anymore, and how all of us could easily become an Eric and start just ripping other people down for the likes, for the views, and for what we see as a stepping stone into something else, when in reality it probably isn't. We're gonna have to continue trying to feed that monster when it probably wasn't what we wanted to do in the first place. I just think it takes an interesting look at all of that. And then we have the side story of Paxton, which I didn't even see coming in this story, because we start to see the fact that Paxton is very uncomfortable with everything that is going on around Macy. And there's a backstory there that we don't quite know about yet that is triggering a lot of the reactions that Paxton is having. And when we finally sit down and we have that conversation of where he is the one who accidentally killed his sister, but it was his dad who got torn apart in the media. So he saw all of this going down and how media can do that to a person, and he could easily see that happening to Macy. And so that was triggering a lot of anxiety and issues in Paxton. And the fact that he can't even have a family with his own parents, because there's just so much history there that's hard to let go of. I mean, this book went deeper than I ever thought it was going to take, and it hit places that were very uncomfortable, and I just appreciated it so much. I never thought that this was going to be the type of book it was. It is a book I'd probably recommend to a lot of younger readers. I think it has a lot to say. So I think this book almost lended itself more to that kind of commentary than the romance that originally I thought it was going to be feeding into. And I'm okay with that. I mean, I expected something a little lighter and a little fluffier, but what I got was something that was just as captivating, and I ate up just as much as I would have a very entertaining romance read. I don't know. I didn't think it would get as deep as it did, and it was good, and I liked it. And if you've gotten this far in the video, I'm assuming that maybe you've read this book or you're super interested in reading the book. Tell me down below your thoughts on just social media and this book in general. I would love to start a conversation with you. And of course, if you would like to keep up to date with every time I upload any kind of review or anything like that, subscribe down below, and I heart your beautiful faces. Bye.